Are popular these days, and many owners go to great lengths to create something that's unique for an overnight visit. Cassandra Finch recently met a couple near Carthage who turned an old house into their idea of a dream B&B. Once they finished, well, they decided to name it after some popular residents there.
Follow the butterflies, and that's where you'll find Butterfly Hollow.
There's always butterflies, for some reason, that just enjoy moving back up in here with us.
And why wouldn't they? This peaceful pocket of land in Gordonsville, Tennessee, abounds with the laid-back comforts of the country life. Sharon and David Rasmussen's bed and breakfast draws both tiny creatures and people.
Come on in, Cassandra. The front part of the house is for our guest enjoyment. We've got a living room. People can curl up with a magazine or a good book. Let me show you upstairs.
Wow, all this wood.
The house has a lot of wood in it.
Deep brown, honey-colored stained wood from trees that once lived right on the land.
The siding inside the home is poplar. Came off of our property. The log railing is cedar.
I was just wanting to have something where you can't tell when you've left the woods and entered the house, or left the house and entered the woods. So when you're in the house, you feel like you're still outside, and when you're outside, the house doesn't stand out. And so using logs and using as much of the natural wood feel kind of gave that for us.
In turn, Sharon and David have given the 100-year-old farmhouse a second life. It was only about 7 years ago that they found it neglected and abandoned.
We started with the house that was falling down and tore it down to the frame, and then from there added a foundation back underneath it and reused all the material that we could. Any of the wood that we had to tear off that was usable, it's being used somewhere else in the house. Built a new house around an old house.
They had never built anything, much less a house. David, a web designer, and Sharon, an office assistant, knew more about computers than carpentry.
And it always worked out where when I was at a point where I was wondering, what have I gotten us into, she would be excited about it, thinking about what we could do tomorrow.
We call this Wash's Tree House because Washington Crawford built the original farmhouse. We dubbed the place the Tree House because of the little windows, and you kind of feel like you're in a tree house. I like to display my mom and my grandmother's quilts, and this is a great way to put them out there. They run back in my family. My grandmother's last quilt that she quilted, and then my mother's quilt that she quilted for me, and so I like having those displayed.
And because they feel fortunate to have the home, they've named one of the rooms after the woman who owned it.
We call this room Lily's Attic. And Lily Crawford was born in this house. We knew about her. She actually died the month that we closed on the farm and moved in. She had a right to live here as long as she was alive, so no one was able to do anything to the farmhouse as far as restoring it. So we felt like she was hanging in there until she knew the right couple came along and was going to bring her homestead back to life. That's how I feel.
Guests aren't the only ones who can stay at Butterfly Hollow. Horses can too. There's a barn for those who've brought their own horses. Or you can admire and even ride those that graze nearby.
Part of the attraction is the paint horses that we care for, that our neighbor raises. And David and I own a couple ourselves. And people love on the babies and pet the mamas, and so they're just pretty to look at.
Now this is my favorite part of Butterfly Hollow. While some, they might want to ride the horses and others might want to go into town and visit historic Carthage, I think I'll stay here and do what most of us rarely get to do these days. And that's absolutely nothing.
Summer, I love to make mulberry lemonade because we have the huge mulberry tree. We have a neighbor who has strawberries. It's an all-you-can-pick patch. So right now the strawberries are in season, so I'm making strawberry torts.
Romantic. Rustic. And the couple believes a little smaller and secluded than other bed and breakfasts you might visit.
By just having the 2 rooms, it just keeps it personal, and I don't know of anybody that has been here that we haven't made friends with. And I pick up this guest book when they leave, and I'm just always awestruck that people have really enjoyed themselves. Let me just read you this. All we can say is wow. I'm still awestruck when I enter your front door. Your home's absolutely incredible, and you can actually feel the love that went into every inch of building your dream home. Thank you so much for your warmth and hospitality. You really outdid yourselves. Thanks again. And it's endless, and it just makes me so proud and so glad that we've decided to open our home to people to come and share it with us.
Thanks, Cassandra. Well, the clock has run out on another edition of Tennessee Crossroads, but before I go, I want you to check out our website sometime. It's TennesseeCrossroads.org. Here's what you'll see next week. Susan Watson discovers a